If corrupt politician Eddie Obeid was the godfather of the New South Wales ALP, Joe Tripodi is its Teflon Don. In the decade that he was Eddie Obeid's right-hand man in the New South Wales government, Tripodi made and broke premiers and was drawn into 4 separate anti-corruption investigations. Each time he was cleared of wrongdoing. But Joe Tripodi's luck may have run out. He's been suspended from the ALP, been accused of misleading the Independent Commission Against Corruption and is facing criticism over his role in a murky development saga in southwestern Sydney. Adam Harvey reports.
These suburbs in Sydney's southwest are home to generations of Italian migrants. As the city grows, their market gardens and fields have vanished beneath red roofs and shopping malls. Here in Prairiewood, an oasis remains. The Calabria Community Club, built in 1981 from cash donated by local Italians.
The Calabrian community, they actually wanted a club of their own. So they came in and they asked me to give some sort of money, and I did, which I think at the time was $500.
Government chipped in about $50,000 for the non-profit social club.
The reason I gave it for a club purpose is because clubs don't make profits, individual profits. All the profits that they make out of clubs goes into the amenities for the clubs and so on, right?
For 3 decades, the club's been little more than a venue for social events and soccer.
We actually train on these fields and it's a constant thing weekly, like twice a week. I mean, it is so important for children to be able to have an area like this to utilise. It was so hard for us to find a place like this, you know.
But these days, the club is decidedly antisocial. This is a recording made at the club's 2012 annual general meeting.
Get the f*** out of here! You are a disgrace! Don't touch me! Get the f*** out! If you don't remember, get the f*** out! Get the f*** out!
The fury is over the club's future, and the millions of dollars to be made after a controversial rezoning decision sent the site's value soaring and paved the way for its development. This land is now worth up to $15 million, thanks partly to lobbying from Joe Tripodi.
Publicly owned land was provided to the Calabria Club so that they could benefit the community through additional recreational resources. But with Tripodi's involvement, the club sought a rezoning which would probably only benefit the directors of the club, which are, by Tripodi's own admission, his friends and associates.
Joe Tripodi is a giant figure in the New South Wales ALP. A star of Young Labor, he rose to become a minister. But like his mentor Eddie Obeid, Tripodi's real power was behind the scenes.
Like twins. They were always in each other's offices. They were always, carrying out the edicts and the desires for total control.
With Obeid, Tripodi ruled the dominant faction in the New South Wales Parliamentary Labor Party. They called themselves the Terrigals, after the Central Coast town where the right-wing group held its first meeting, at Eddie Obeid's beach house. The Terrigals decided who went into cabinet. Former Labor MP Paul O'Grady watched his parliamentary colleagues line up to pay fealty.
That's right. You always went and saw Eddie and Joe. If you wanted advancement, you had to be totally loyal to them.
They were more powerful than the premiers they anointed and dethroned.
Should I not be Premier by the end of this day, let there be no doubt in the community's mind, no doubt, that any challenger will be a puppet of Eddie Obeid and Joe Tripodi.
And while Eddie Obeid has been found corrupt, Joe Tripodi has figured in 4 inquiries by the New South Wales anti-corruption body, the ICAC, and been cleared each time.
Joe's got his fingers in lots of pies, but he always keeps dancing. Now, I know that's hard to imagine Joe dancing, but I think it's true.
Paul O'Grady was a factional foe and no fan of Tripodi's style.
He's ruthless. He's a person who never gives up. And he's the first generation of people who have taken those Graham Richardson words, whatever it takes. And he's put that into practice.
Joe Tripodi's influence stretched all the way from Macquarie Street to the green fields of Prairiewood. The Labor Party kingmaker has been closely involved in the push to turn this field and modest amenities block into something that looks like this. He publicly supported the rezoning, even speaking about it in Parliament. And in 2002, Joe Tripodi took the Calabria Club's then president to this development in Sydney's Italian heartland, Norton Street, Leichhardt, and said this is what could be built in Prairiewood. There's shops, restaurants and lots of apartments.
As you can see, there's a proposal to build a hotel, hundreds of home units, office space, shops and an underground car park.
Right on top of the soccer pitch.
Absolutely right on top of the soccer pitch. There will be no more soccer at the Calabria Club.
I can see a bit of green space here. Is it big enough for a game of soccer?
Funny that you should mention that, because the plans have since been revised to actually get rid of the open space in the middle, and there's going to be even more home units and more shops on the space. But unfortunately, no club and no soccer.
We don't look like we're going to get the Calabria Club. We're going to get the Calabria apartments, and not many people are going to benefit at all. Except Joe Tripodi and some of the directors who can add another property to their development portfolio.
Peter Jones and Joe Tripodi were once ALP mates.
Yes, we're friends, and we've been friends for a couple of decades, yes.
Why did you fall out with Tripodi?
Well, it was over this development. When I was in Young Labor with Joe, Joe believed in something, but he's long since stopped believing in things. I don't think he believes in anything anymore, and I think that's symbolic of the Labor Party as a whole, quite frankly.
The Calabria Club is now run by Joe Tripodi's former ministerial staffer, Rocco Leonello. In 2012, Mr Leonello arranged a $3 million loan for the cash-strapped club with another Labor mate, union official and ALP branch president Tan Kien Lee. The terms of the loan with a shelf company called Panbic are tough. 22% interest with up to $9.5 million to be repaid over 10 years. Peter Jones thinks it's designed to fail.
It was always the objective to burden the club with a whole lot of debt, have the proposal and the club fall over, and have the debt repaid to this $2 company called Panbic. So Panbic will walk away with a significant profit of about $10 million, and the club members and the community will be left with nothing at all.
Joe Tripodi denies any involvement in the club, and in a recent ruling, a Supreme Court judge said there's no evidence that he's pulling the strings behind the scenes. That's hotly disputed by Peter Jones and his faction of disgruntled Calabria Club members.
Just to be clear, you think Joe Tripodi is driving this?
Without a shadow of a doubt. He regularly attended board meetings, and it's been minuted. The other side don't dispute the fact. His witnesses at the court case said that he attended board meetings. He advised the directors on what they should do. It was his idea to develop the property. He said who should and who shouldn't go on the board. He said who should and shouldn't get access to documents. Joe Tripodi's fingerprints are all over this.
Around here, I refer to Joe Tripodi as the Teflon Don because he has his hands on everything, but he never leaves his fingerprints on anywhere.
Tripodi's link to Obeid continues to damage him. He's suspended himself from the Labor Party while ICAC investigates him once again, this time over government decisions that favoured the Obeid family. That report is due early in the new year.